Most people lose their life long before they die, not because someone defeated them, not because the world broke them, but because they never learned to control their own mind. Your mind is the one battlefield where you will fight every single day, and if you don't master it, it will master you. Today we dive into a truth the Stoics risked everything to understand. You either rule your mind, or you become ruled by it. Stay with me. Stoic technique number 1, the mind as the real enemy. There's a reason Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." He didn't write it for philosophy books. He wrote it because he was fighting a silent war inside himself. The same war you're fighting today. The world didn't crush him. His enemies didn't destroy him. Fear did. Self-doubt did. The constant storm of thoughts that pull you into anxiety, anger, overthinking, pain, that was the enemy. And it's the same enemy you face every morning when you wake up. Not your job, not your past, not your circumstances. No, the biggest threat to your life is the untrained mind. Let me ask you something. Pause and be honest. When was the last time your mind was quiet? When was the last time you felt in control instead of being dragged by stress, fear, or old memories? Most people don't live. They react to thoughts. They react to impulses. They react to fears that are not even real. And this is where the Stoics deliver a truth many people run from. Your mind is telling you stories, not facts. Until you understand this, you will remain a prisoner in your own head. Stoic technique number 2, a story that hits hard. Let me tell you a story. A man once asked a Stoic teacher, "Why do I feel tortured inside? Nothing even happened." The teacher replied, "Nothing happened outside you, but inside your mind, everything happened." This man would wake up with dread. He imagined conversations that never happened. He replayed insults that were never said. He feared situations that didn't exist. He stressed over outcomes he couldn't control. This man was suffering from an enemy he couldn't see, his own unchecked mind. The Stoic teacher told him, "Your mind is a wild horse. If you don't take the reins, it will drag you to places you never wanted to go." And that's your story too. If you don't take control, your mind will lead you to overthinking, to fear, to self-doubt, to regret, to anger, to destroying your own chances before life even tests you. You are not suffering from your situation, you are suffering from your interpretation of it. Stoic technique number 3, the Stoic diagnosis. You're addicted to your thoughts. Epictetus once said, "When we are offended, it is not the event itself that disturbs us, but our judgment about it." Think about that. Most people are not addicted to pain. They are addicted to worrying. They don't fear life. They fear their imagination. They're not controlled by the world. They're controlled by the noise inside their own head. You scroll on your phone and your mind controls you. You walk into a room and your mind tells you who you are. You try something new and your mind whispers failure before you even begin. You have become a slave to automatic thoughts. But here's the beautiful truth the Stoics teach. Your mind is not part of your identity. It's a tool, and tools can be trained. Stoic technique number 4, the Stoic switch. Choosing responsibility over reaction. The Stoics teach something radical, something that separates the strong from the weak. You are responsible for your inner world. Not your childhood, not your ex, not society, not your circumstances, not your enemies. You. If your mind is chaotic, you must rebuild it. If your thoughts are destructive, you must discipline them. If your emotions control you, you must step into the command seat. Most people don't realize this, but your greatest power is simple. The power to choose what you focus on. Your mind goes where your attention goes. Put your attention on fear, you become fearful. Put your attention on anger, you become angry. Put your attention on control, you become powerful. Marcus Aurelius didn't become strong because life was easy. He became strong because he refused to give his inner world to chaos. And you must do the same. Stoic technique number 5, the enemy within. Your brain loves survival more than peace. That means it's wired to look for threats, even when none exist. The Stoics discovered this long before modern psychology. Your mind creates fear to keep you safe, but the same fear also keeps you trapped. You imagine the worst-case scenario because your brain thinks it's protecting you, but all it does is paralyze you. You replay the past because it thinks remembering pain will help you avoid danger, but all it does is keep you in chains. You worry about the future because your brain tries to predict threats, but all it does is drain your energy. The Stoics said, if you don't control your thoughts, they will invent suffering. And that's exactly what's happening to you. But here's the good news. This means your suffering is optional. It is not destiny. It is habit. And habits can be broken. Stoic technique number 6. Why the mind loves drama and how Stoics avoided the trap. Your mind loves drama. Why? Because drama gives it something to chew on. Your mind hates silence because silence forces you to face yourself. It hates peace because peace requires discipline. It hates present moment awareness because it can't control you in the present, only in the past and the future. So the Stoics lived in the now. They said, do not suffer imagined troubles. Focus only on what is in your power. Let go of what you cannot control. By doing this, they broke the cycle of mental chaos. If you want to control your mind, you must do the same. Stoic technique number 7, the moment you start winning the inner war. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. The moment you take responsibility for your thoughts is the moment your life begins to change. When you stop blaming, stop reacting, stop chasing thoughts that don't matter, stop letting old wounds guide your decisions, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because your mind becomes stronger. Most people want peace without discipline, strength without struggle, clarity without self-control. But the Stoics teach you cannot command the world, but you can command your mind, and that is enough. Let me ask you something important, and answer this in the comments. What's the one thought that controls you the most? And are you ready to take it back? This question builds community. This question creates reflection. This question boosts engagement. If this message resonates with you, if you're tired of being controlled by fear, doubt, and overthinking, stay with us till the end. Because what we review next, we break down the exact Stoic methods to regain control over your mind step by step. Subscribe before your mind gives you another excuse not to. If earlier we showed you the enemy inside your mind, then now we'll give you the weapons to defeat it. Not theories, not quotes, but the Stoic tools Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca used to win the inner war every single day. Because the truth is simple. You don't rise to the level of your desires. You fall to the level of your mental discipline. So let's begin. Stoic technique number 8. Name the thought. The technique that stops fear instantly.
The Stoics believed something powerful. If you can name a thought, you can control it. Thoughts control you because they operate in the dark. They storm your mind with emotion, fear, anger, jealousy, doubt, without telling you where they came from. But the moment you name the thought, the moment you say, "This is fear," "This is overthinking," "This is pride," "This is insecurity," "This is ego," your brain switches from emotional mode to rational mode. And when your mind becomes rational, your emotions lose their power. Marcus Aurelius did this constantly. He wrote in his journal, "Say to every thought, you are just a thought. Not reality, not truth, just a passing electrical signal." Let me ask you, how many thoughts have controlled your whole week, even though they were not even facts? Name the thought, own it, and the control begins. Stoic technique number 9, the pause, the 3-second rule that prevents 90% of suffering. The Stoics practiced something called the pause, a brief moment between stimulus and reaction. Before you respond, before you panic, before you send that message, before you take the bait, before emotion hijacks your actions, you pause. Just 3 seconds. Because in those 3 seconds, something incredible happens. Emotion decreases. Logic increases. Impulse weakens. Clarity rises. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The pause is where mastery begins. Think of how many mistakes you've made because you reacted too quickly. Think of how many arguments, regrets, and disasters could have been avoided if you paused for just 3 seconds. Power doesn't come from being emotionless. It comes from controlling when and how you act. The pause is your shield. Use it. Stoic technique number 10. Control the first thought, shape the second. This is the technique that mentally strongest people use. The Stoics understood something that modern psychology confirms. You can't control your first thought, but you can control your second. Your first thought is automatic. It comes from past conditioning, trauma, fears, ego, instinct. You can't stop your brain from firing it. But your second thought is your choice. Most people let their first thought dominate their life. I'm not good enough. They don't like me. I'll probably fail. I can't do this. What if something goes wrong? But the Stoic changes the second thought. I feel fear, but I can still act. I'm worried, but I'll focus on what I control. This is uncomfortable, and I will grow from it. Failure is a possibility, but stagnation is guaranteed if I do nothing. This is what separates the disciplined mind from the chaotic one. The first thought is reflex. The second thought is identity.
Stoic technique number 11. Focus on the sphere of control. The most famous Stoic weapon, and the most misunderstood. Marcus Aurelius wrote a simple map that would save billions of people from suffering if they truly understood it. There are only 2 zones in your life: what you control, what you cannot. Anxiety lives in zone 2. Peace lives in zone 1. Your job is not to solve everything, only what sits inside your sphere of control. Look at these 2 lists. Outside your control, other people's behavior, their opinions, the past, the future, the outcome, what others think of you, whether someone loves you, whether life is fair. Inside your control, your focus,
your actions, your discipline, your effort, your words, your mindset, your reactions, your character. Most people waste their life fighting everything in the outside list and neglecting everything in the inside list. That's why they suffer. Epictetus said, "If you want control, control your choices. The more you focus on what you truly control, the stronger your mind becomes." Stoic technique number 12. Voluntary discomfort. The technique that builds mental armor. Stoics would deliberately make life harder on themselves, not because they liked suffering, but because they wanted to train their mind to stay calm under pressure. Seneca said, "Toughness comes from doing difficult things." Voluntary discomfort could be a cold shower, a hard workout, fasting, doing the thing you fear, delaying gratification, facing a truth you avoid, starting before you feel ready. When you choose difficulty on purpose, your mind learns that fear is not the enemy, avoidance is. If you can handle voluntary challenges, you can handle unexpected ones. This technique makes your mind bulletproof. Stoic technique number 13. Negative visualization. The most misunderstood Stoic exercise and one of the most powerful. Stoics practiced something shocking. They imagined losing what they loved, but not to scare themselves, not to become pessimists. They did it for two reasons. 1, to appreciate life more deeply. 2, to weaken the fear of loss. Seneca wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what is left and live it properly." This is not sadness. This is awakening. When you imagine life without your comforts, gratitude becomes natural. Fear becomes weaker. Clarity becomes stronger. Attachment becomes healthier. Negative visualization doesn't make you scared. It makes you prepared. Stoic technique number 14. Rewriting the narrative. The secret to breaking negative thought loops. The strongest Stoics knew something modern therapy teaches. Your mind is suffering from outdated narratives. Maybe someone once told you, "You're not enough. You're a failure. You're difficult to love. You'll never succeed." Your mind took that narrative and has repeated it for years. But that is not your voice. It's an echo. The Stoic solution: rewrite the narrative. Literally. Seneca wrote new identities for himself. Marcus Aurelius wrote new beliefs. Epictetus created new internal stories to replace old runes. You must ask yourself, what story is my mind telling me? And who gave me that story? If the answer isn't me, rewrite it. Your mind must serve you, not the past. The Stoic technique number 15. The transformation begins. You have just learned the core Stoic weapons that emperors, warriors, generals, and philosophers used to control their minds and transform their lives. Let's reflect. You can name your thoughts. You can pause before reacting. You can shape your second thought. You can focus on your sphere of control. You can grow through voluntary discomfort. You can practice negative visualization. You can rewrite your narrative. If you practice these, your mind will no longer drag you through life. You will lead it. And when you lead your mind, Your mind becomes your greatest ally, your strongest weapon, your quietest source of power. Write this in the comments. Which Stoic technique are you starting today, and why? Your answer might help someone else who needed this message. If you're ready to build a disciplined, unshakable mind, stay with me till the end, because next we dive into how to maintain control, how to protect your mental energy, and how to build a life guided by reason instead of chaos. Hit subscribe so you don't lose this momentum.
Most people think they are in control until life hits them with something they didn't expect. But the Stoics say this: if you do not train your mind, it will become your master. This final lesson is where everything changes. Stoic technique number 16. You become what you consistently do. Your habits shape your mind, and your mind shapes your life. Your mind is not built in a single moment. It's sculpted by your daily repetitions. Epictetus once said, "Every habit and capability is confirmed and grows in its corresponding actions." Meaning, think negatively often, you become negative. React emotionally often, you become ruled by emotion. Seek comfort constantly, you lose discipline. Train discipline consistently, you become unshakable. Your mind learns from repetition, not intention. This is why most people live on autopilot. They repeat the same mental patterns every day. Stoic truth? The mind becomes your servant when your habits are deliberate. The mind becomes your master when your habits are unconscious. So ask yourself honestly, have you been training self-control or surrendering to impulse? Stoic technique number 17. Your triggers reveal the truth about you. What controls you? Your anger? Your fear? Your desire? You don't know what controls your mind until something exposes your emotional weak points. Someone disrespects you, you snap. A setback appears, you panic. Someone rejects you, you collapse. You get bored, you distract yourself. Your triggers are not your enemies. They are teachers. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings." The Stoic approach is not to avoid triggers, it's to observe them. Not to hide from emotion, but to understand it. When something triggers you, ask, why did this get to me? What fear did it expose? What insecurity is being revealed? What belief is being threatened? This single practice can take a person from reactive to powerful. Stoic technique number 18. Freedom begins when you separate thought from action. A thought is not a command. A feeling is not a law. The world trained you to believe that if you feel angry, you must react. If you feel anxious, something is wrong. If you feel discouraged, you must stop. If you feel desire, you must pursue it. The Stoics rejected this completely. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Stoicism is not about suppressing emotion. It's about learning the skill of pausing between the feeling and the action. This gap is your freedom. This gap is your power. This gap is the difference between reacting like a slave to emotion and responding like a master of your mind. Practice this. The Stoic pause. 3-second habit. Notice the emotion. Name it. Pause for 3 seconds. Ask, is this useful? Is this true? Respond with intention. This is how you become emotionally untouchable.
Stoic technique number 19. You cannot control life, only your internal state. The world outside you is chaos. The world inside you doesn't have to be. Stoicism isn't about controlling everything. It's about controlling the one thing that determines everything: your internal state. You can't control the market, the weather, other people, their opinions, their decisions, their emotions, fate, time, the past, the future. But you can always control your perception, your response, your principles, your discipline, your choices, your attitude, your character. Marcus Aurelius summarized the entire Stoic philosophy with one line: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is not a motivational phrase. It's a survival tool. If you try to control the world, you will suffer. If you learn to control your mind, you will be free. Stoic technique number 20. Emotional discipline is the highest form of strength. Anyone can lift weights. Few can lift their own mind. The Stoics didn't admire muscles. They admired inner stability. Strength to them was not exploding in anger, not crumbling under pressure, not chasing validation, not needing external approval, not letting desire hijack judgment, not drowning in fear, not letting comfort make you weak. True power is the ability to remain steady while the world pulls at you. Most people are slaves to their impulses, their cravings, their anger, their distractions, their fears, their ego. But the Stoic seeks mastery, not surrender. Emotional stability is a superpower, and it's trained, not gifted.
Stoic technique number 21. The final transformation. Becoming the ruler of your mind. The goal is simple. You choose your thoughts instead of having them chosen for you. Imagine living like this. Someone insults you, you stay calm. Something unexpected happens, you adapt. Someone leaves your life, you remain centered. Something stressful occurs, you don't collapse. You feel anxious, you observe, not obey. You feel anger, you respond, not react. Life becomes chaotic, you remain grounded. This is not fantasy. This is training. This is Stoicism. Your mind becomes what you consistently teach it. You can teach it calm. You can teach it resilience. You can teach it focus. You can teach it strength. You can teach it silence. You can teach it clarity. You can teach it discipline. You are training your mind right now, whether intentionally or not. The question isn't whether your mind is being trained. The question is, are you the trainer or the one being trained? Your mind is the battlefield. You decide the victor. If you don't control your mind, it will replay fears. It will exaggerate problems. It will create imaginary threats. It will distract you with desires. It will enslave you to emotion. It will sabotage you without your awareness. But when you take control, you think clearly, you choose wisely, you act with purpose. You become harder to break. You become emotionally untouchable. You stop being a victim of your own thoughts. This is the Stoic path. This is inner mastery. This is freedom.